What's up, therapy heads? Welcome back to Basically Therapy, the podcast that has a very self-explanatory name. And this week, I feel enriched. And I'm very excited to be back for this fourth episode of Basically Therapy. It has been a while. I think it's been like a full month, maybe even a little bit longer than that. And you know, like I said in the last episode, I'm not going to make something unless I'm like 100% on it. So I'm not saying this episode is going to be my magnum opus or the greatest thing I've ever done, but I just wasn't in the mood. I've been catching up, okay? I've been watching stuff. I've been watching TV and enjoying my life, and I'm ready to open back up and tell the world about it. So without further ado, I do have a lot of catch up to do. So we're going to start this week with my reviews of the week. And we're going to review the most stuff we've ever talked about ever on this show. So yeah, we're not even like a minute in and I'm already going to get to the point, man. And then I'll update you on my life, okay? First off, going all the way back to the beginning of March, the Oscars. I watched the Oscars. Honestly, I was expecting the Oscars this year to be really boring. I liked a lot of the movies this year. I was very excited. I had my ballot. I only got 2 wrong, I'm pretty sure. That's not true. I did a thing where I made it fair to myself because it's so hard to get a perfect score. So I gave myself a half point because I got to choose 2 for each topic or each award. I chose 2. I chose one that I wanted to win and one that I think was going to win. And if either of them got it, I got at least some semblance of a point. So if it was my personal choice, I got a half point. If it was what I thought was going to win, it was a full point. So I think there were supposed to be like 20 points and I got like 13.5. Do the math there. I'm pretty sure. But I did fairly well for all the big awards. I think I only got screenwriting wrong, or best original screenplay. No, best adapted screenplay. Whichever one American Fiction won, that blew my mind. I watched American Fiction. I'm going to talk about it in a little bit, but I was very surprised that won. But yeah, as far as like the show, it was good. It was a good show. You know, Jimmy Kimmel, he's like the most medium funny comedian. Like he's funny. He can make me blow air out of my nose. But in the long run, do I think he's like the funniest guy on the planet? Absolutely not. And I think a lot of people are in that camp. Like I will watch him. I won't watch his show. I'll watch his clips on TikTok that other people have posted. But I just, you know, it's not that I don't agree with the things he says. It's just that I don't really find him that funny. Same thing with like Jimmy Fallon and all that. All the late night hosts I don't love. But on the topic of hosts, I think next year they should 100% get John Mulaney in there. I know that's like the people's opinion. But John Mulaney is just so funny. And when his little bit about Field of Dreams was so like just it made me cackle. It made me cackle. And Jimmy Kimmel didn't make me cackle one time that night. So yeah. Oh, and the John Cena bit was hilarious where he walked out on stage naked. That was killer. Honestly, I think it was the best award show of the whole award season, which is saying something. Usually the Oscars is pretty boring, but I think they did a good job. The thing I actually didn't like, usually I like watching the In Memoriam because I know I know of a lot of actors and stuff like that. So it's nice to, you know, be reminded of their passing and pay your respects and all that. But it's really hard to pay my respects when they're constantly cutting away from it to show like people dancing on stage. It's like, dude, excuse me. I'm trying to watch your program. Why are you cutting away from it? Why are there people doing fucking Shen Yun dancing in front of Cirque du Soleil, Shen Yun dancing right in front of the screen. Like, come on. Like, I don't know. I don't know if that's a hot take or a cold take. It's just like, it's just bizarre. It's a bizarre choice that they're choosing to pull attention away from the in memoriam section. But yeah. And you know, I feel bad for saying it, but I skipped through a lot of it. I've been watching award shows. If you've seen the first episode, I've been watching award shows for a while now. And it's hard for me to listen to the same acceptance speeches every single time. You know, they thank all the people, they thank their loved ones and their managers and their acting coaches and all that. It's just like, get on with it. I want to see who wins the award. I want to watch the presenters. Not everybody is good at public speaking, and I don't really want to listen to you speak if you're not good at public speaking. So yeah, that was the Oscars. Overall, I'm not gonna give it a number score, but that was pretty good. It was pretty good, ranging on all right, which is lower than pretty good. All right, so first movie on the list. These are going to be Oscars movies because I was trying to catch up for the Oscars. So first one on here is Past Lives. If you don't know Past Lives, it is a drama set between like New York City and I think it's Korea. Yes, South Korea. Okay, it's about these two estranged people who lived in Korea when they were young, and the girl Nora, I'm not cheating right now. The girl Nora moves away with her family to America. She leaves her like young boyfriend Hae Sung. I did not just cheat and look at that. Behind in Korea, you know, obviously because she can't take him with him. I did not need to explain that. But it's kind of like this, you know, star-crossed lovers story where, you know, they were separated so young, but, you know, you never forget your first love. And so the whole movie is kind of just like talking on that and exploring those themes and all that and moving on. And I'm not really spoiling it because this is all in the trailer. Yeah, so like Nora moves on and she meets someone new, and then Hae Sung like contacts her all these years past. They're adults now, and you know, Nora's living with this new guy. And all of a sudden Hae Sung just, you know, appears out of nowhere and is like, "Hey, I'm coming to America." And she's like, "What?" So yeah, it's really awkward. And I think I was expecting a lot more out of it just because, you know, it was an Oscar nominee. You expect Oscar movies to be really good. I'm not saying this isn't really good. I mean, people, it's got a 95% on Rotten Tomatoes, 94% on Metacritic. It's a good movie. It's just not, it's not the flavor I was looking for. You know, I was expecting more of like a bittersweet thing, kind of like Marriage Story, how the end of Marriage Story is, where it's not a happy ending, but it's definitely not like super sad. And it kind of is like that, but it's more of like a melancholy ending. Like it's not, it's just kind of meh, you know, it's just kind of like a meh ending. And it was a little disappointing. So I think it was overhyped for me, and that's, if I revisit it, maybe if I watch it with someone else and they help me understand it, I'll get it. But Past Lives was it was good. It was good. That's my review. That's what I'll call it. Okay. Next up, American Fiction, the one that I teased. American Fiction, I'm going to look up the synopsis again so I don't forget it. American Fiction, and please, you know, understand that I am white. I am not going to speak for the African American people on how this movie affects them. This is just my perception of the movie. I am a firm lover of black entertainment, and I did really enjoy this movie. I was very surprised when it won. What did it win? Adapted screenplay. It was a book before. I was very surprised when it won best adapted screenplay. Not like in a bad way. Like, I did really enjoy it. The ending was kind of like it didn't sour me. It was very creative and I really enjoyed it, but it just felt like a movie, I guess, I don't know if that's a good way of saying it, but it didn't really, it wasn't for me. That's the thing. Movies like this aren't for me. It's more of like, it was very satirical and I understand where it was coming from and I get it. It's just that I think this would have more of an impact on me if I didn't have my circumstance and my privilege and all that. The movie is about Monk, this novelist who is really struggling to publish like anything. Nobody wants to publish his work. And then one day he comes upon this new book that's being released that's very pandering towards black people and black circumstance. And he's like, why do people like this? And he a lot happens to him where his circumstance gets even worse. So he's like, I'm just going to write what the people want. I'm going to pander to them. And it ends up paying off. And he just doesn't understand it. He doesn't get why do people like this stuff? And it says a lot about how white people view African American studies and stuff like that. And how, how difficult of a conversation it can be to be like, why are we pandering? Why are white people pandering to black people about their own stories? And it was very interesting. I don't think I was giving the movie my full attention. I was doing other stuff around there. So I think I maybe need to revisit it, but I did enjoy it. And I do think it deserves the credit it's been given. And that speech that the writer of the movie gave was so good. It was phenomenal. Giving credit to all these smaller movies. He said, why not make $110 million movies than make one $100 million movie? And that's so right. That is highlighting such a big problem in Hollywood, is that finding movies like this for the Oscars was probably really difficult because there are so many bad movies that have come out recently that are all $100 million movies. I mean, what? Let me look up the budget for Madam Web. Wasn't Madam Web like $200 million? Didn't Madam Web have a $200 million budget? Oh. Well, I retract that. It was only 80 million. And I'm saying only 80 million, but it was around 100 million, okay? No, you know what? Fuck that. No, that still proves it. That proves it. Madam Web was made with $80 million, and that is one of the worst movies to ever come out. So, it just baffles me that I don't know, that they can't take a chance on a $10 million movie. That's probably significantly better than that. Most of my favorite movies are simple, and think about all the cult classics from the 2000s, early 2000s. Like Napoleon Dynamite and shit like that. Minuscule budgets, and they're so good. I don't get it. I don't get Hollywood. That's why I'm not a screenwriter anymore, okay? You get it? But yeah, I mean, that's just insane. Argyle. I haven't seen Argyle. I heard Argyle is not great. $200 million. $200 million. From the guy that made Kingsman. Insane. What was the budget on the first Kingsman? I gotta look that up. Look at that. Look at that. The budget for the first Kingsman movie, which was a really good movie, $80 million. $81 million. That is absolutely insane that it has the same budget as Madam Web, yet the script for Madam Web was so picked apart and pulled to fucking threads by the producers and the studio that it became one of the worst movies ever released. Tell me how that works, man. Tell me how that works. Anyway, okay, we got to move on. We're breaking down the system. Okay. Next up, Killers of the Flower Moon. Okay, I really don't have much to say about this movie. I did really like it. It's super long, but I'm not one to complain about a movie being long and not liking it because of that. Because, that's just it's not a good argument. If you consider yourself to be someone that likes movies, yet you won't watch a really long one because you don't have time or you can't commit to that. I don't know, then you don't like movies, man. But you can, it's not even that long. I've watched longer, man. It's only 2.5 hours. It's just that it's paced super long, so it feels like it's longer. But it's worth it, man. If you like mystery and true crime stuff, like, this is such a good story, and it's Scorsese. I will watch any Scorsese movie, no matter the length. Like, I love Martin Scorsese, and I think he does fantastic work. I'm not a diehard fanboy of him. I haven't watched everything, but I'm a medium fan. So yeah, Killers of the Flower Moon is a definite recommend. Just give yourself some time. I would start it like at noon on a Sunday. That's where I would, because then it doesn't feel like it's taking up your whole day, or your whole night. It's not 3 a.m. by the time you're going to bed and stuff like that. It's very good. I need to pick up the pace. Holy shit. Maestro. Did not finish Maestro. Okay. The Bradley Cooper joint. I respect Bradley Cooper. Not necessarily as a person. I don't know any of these people. I can't vouch for them, obviously. I couldn't get through it, man. Granted, I was watching this on a treadmill, so my attention wasn't fully on the movie, but something about the set dressing and the costumes and the makeup and his dumb voice that he was doing, I couldn't do it. Do not recommend. It's just and nothing against Leonard Bernstein. Stain. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's just, I just didn't like the movie. I didn't, I don't remember if I talked about the Adam Project in the last episode or not, but I am someone where if I am not hooked by the 10-minute mark, I'm out, man. You have 10 minutes to sell me on a movie. And if I'm still sitting there at 10 minutes, I'm enjoying it, kind of. I at least want to see what the rest of the movie looks like. But it's a biopic, man. It's a biopic. I'm so sick and tired of biopics. Like, for some reason, they're all... for some reason, these musical biopics are all like the same movie with different people, with different people's lives. Like Bohemian Rhapsody, Rocket Man, fucking any other of... I'm just sick of them. I'm sick of them. They all feel the same. And no, like, I liked the cinematography. I'll give them that. I did like the way it looked. It's just that the rest of it, what they were actually filming, I didn't really enjoy. So I give that a do not recommend. I don't recommend you make time to watch that. If you have oodles of time in your life, go ahead, give it a try. Not for me. On the other hand, things that are for me, things that I feel like were made for my taste exactly, is Poor Things. I loved Poor Things. I loved the cinematography. I loved the costume design. I loved the makeup. I loved the dialogue. I loved the plot. Like, it was so weird. It was so bizarre. It just catered to everything I love about movies and weird Oscar movies. And it's just my bread and butter. It was the one I was looking out for this whole season. Like I just, and you know, I watched The Favorite back in, 2018. That was another Yorgos Lanthimos joint. And I did like it. It wasn't my favorite just because I don't really like Victorian era stuff. But it was very good. I liked Poor Things a lot. Yeah. That's what I have to say about Poor Things. It's like, I mean, there were things I didn't like about it, but the things that I like are outweighing the things I don't like. What I will say is that it was paced a little funky. I think at first it was very fast paced, and then it just like came to a halt the second they got on that boat. And I was like, oh my God, let's move on. But when we did, you know, I was like all for it. I got it, you know. That's the trouble of putting a story on a boat, is that, oh my God, it feels like it lasts forever. So yeah, that's a highly recommend. Highly recommend. If you like weird shit like me, oh yeah. Oh yeah. And I'm definitely going to be checking out Yorgos's other joints. And I think I'm going to rewatch The Favorite, because I think maybe now that I get Poor Things, maybe I'll get The Favorite. I was a younger lad. I didn't get movies back then. I just liked them. Okay. That's it for Oscar movies. We're out of the weeds there. Now we're getting into TV, okay? TV. This is my bread and butter. This is my everything. I like movies. I love TV. I'll always say that. The first thing I'm going to talk about, and this one honestly might take up the brunt of my time here, is Avatar: The Last Airbender, the Netflix series. You know, I had originally recorded half of an episode previously, but that day I just didn't have a flow with my talking. Didn't have the energy to keep going. I also had literally just watched the show and came up here and started ranting, and I was like, this isn't me thinking critically, this is just me thinking angrily, and I need to just calm down, process the show, let it sit with me for a couple weeks. So I have, and I'm here, and I'm ready to talk. And listen, it's okay. It's okay. I don't have bullet points. I'm not going to break down the show. That's for other YouTubers to do. That's not what we're here for. We're here for our mental health, okay? And in the long run, you know, watching a TV show is it's a dedication, you know, committing to a whole show, 8 hours of your time. That's, you know, figuring out what you're going to do with your time is important to your mental health. And let me tell you, let me get real here. It's okay. It's okay. It's not good. It's not bad. Some aspects of it are a little bad. It's not my favorite Netflix adaptation. Netflix is not good at adapting things. They're not. Look at the Cowboy Bebop show. Okay? Look at the live action Death Note. I mean, come on. I don't know why they put so much money into projects with such poorly written scripts. And if they're not poorly written, then they're just putting their hand too heavily on these projects. They're becoming too involved with the creative process, you know, stuff like that. I'm going to give the show a little bit of credit. Okay? They announced this in 2018. The world was very different back then, okay? That was when I had hope in a live action Netflix series. That was when everybody believed that Netflix was the greatest thing on the planet, you know? Before the crackdown with all the password sharing and shit, you know, before half of the ungodly stuff that they've released. I mean, come on. It's been bad. But you know what? They gave me hope. They gave me hope with One Piece. I'm a live action One Piece enjoyer. Sue me. But they filmed this through COVID and the writer's strike. At least they were editing it through the writer's strike, hopefully. Aside from that, they don't get many passes. But I can imagine how frustrating it must have been to be on that show and to have to condense all that material down to 8 episodes. It makes sense. I get it. Do I enjoy it? Not really. You know, people who work on these shows are beaten to death by the studios, and what the result of that is the exact reason why the writers went on strike last year. And it's very clear that this show was a victim of those circumstances, of probably having a shrunken writer's room, you know? Putting this much responsibility in the hands of not that many people is stressful, and I'm sure is the result of this half-baked show. Aside from that, you know, that's just the writing aspect. The actors, they were okay. The casting was not fantastic. I think the actor for Aang was really good. I think he has potential. I don't think the acting necessarily was like fantastic, but that's not their fault, okay? I'm watching this show and I'm like, man, the acting's not great, but it's not their fault, man. They were acting through the pandemic. They were acting on the volume. You know, this is a very high VFX show. I think the problem lies in the directing and the show running. You know, it's very clear that the people involved with the higher ups didn't have much creative freedom. So they, you know, I'm just imagining like the pressure on these actors and the writers and all that, like, and even like, you know, the production, like the crew and all that. I can't imagine how stressful this set was. And you can feel it because it's not fun. This is not a fun show. This is a mandatory show. We have to tell this story. Okay? This plot point has to be hit this exact way. Okay? But we're also going to change it from the cartoon because, well, that was just a stupid little cartoon for kids, for babies, you know? We're going to make it cool. We're going to make it like Game of Thrones, you know? Forget all that baby stuff. This is for men. This is Avatar for men. Get it? Good. That's what it feels like. It feels like the Dr. Pepper 10 of live action remakes. And it's sad, man. It's sad. I just think about like how cool Katara was in the original series. That's like that's the people's opinion. That's the general consumer's opinion, is that Katara is horrible, is horribly adapted. Katara in the cartoon is this like motherly figure, like, and that's the beauty of her character, is that she's so young, but she's so caring and motherly to the people in like the Avatar party. And yet, you know, they just completely wiped that from her character, and she's so like, just go with the flow. And that's not Katara, man. I don't know who this new Katara is. I don't like her. No hate on the actress. I feel so bad for the hate she's getting. It's not her fault, man. It's that the people in charge of the show didn't get it. They didn't get it. They don't have the sauce. They lost the plot. I believe they were renewed for a second and third season. I hope they stick the landing. I hope the writer's strike did something. I hope the actor's strike did something. Get these kids some more money. Maybe they'll start acting better. I don't know. I'm not an executive, but listen, it was a stressful watch, and watching them they didn't stick the landing. They fell, but they got back up, and that's the important part. So I give this a don't watch the original cartoon. Don't watch it. I do want to see the second and third season, because I'm morbidly curious like that. But if this were just to be this one season, I'd be okay with it, because this story's been told before. This story has been told before in nearly the exact same way, in a frankly better way, with a lot better pacing, and a lot more character development. And I just think that if you want to watch this story, watch it the way that it's intended, which is the cartoon. Yeah, that's all I have to say about that. That's all I'm going to let myself say about it. I think that's the nicest way I could put it. Don't watch it. Just watch the cartoon. If you're afraid to watch a cartoon, grow up. I mean, come on, it's a cartoon. It can get a little silly at times, but the payoff of the character development and the storyline, it's mature enough, man. It's mature enough. I didn't even grow up with this show. I'm not going to lie and say that I did. I liked it as a kid. It was on when I was a kid, but I didn't watch it. I didn't get it because I my dumb little raisin brain couldn't, absorb stories like that. But now I watched it. I watched it for the first time in 2020, and I thoroughly enjoy it. I have a thing. Maybe I'll put a picture up. Maybe not. I have a little display of Avatar Funko Pops right there. It is so cool. I love Avatar, man. I love it. It makes me sad to see them. It's like watching. It's like as a kid when your cousin would come over and start picking up your toys and playing with them wrong. It's like that. Someone picked up my toys. They're playing with them wrong. They're tearing their heads off. They're running their feet on the treadmill, and now there's no feet. It's just leg. I mean, come on. It's so sad. It's so sad. Anyway, we're moving on. Okay. Invincible Season 2. Invincible Season 2. This is another thing where I'm a little conflicted. I watched the first season of Invincible when it came out. That was back in 2020? Yeah, that was 2020. I was a different man back then, okay? I was a different man. That was centuries ago. I don't even remember back then, really. Yeah, so much life. There is so much life that I've lived between season 1 and season 2 of Invincible. Season 2 is interesting. I'm not in the camp of Invincible lovers. I haven't read the comics. I'm not all studied up on the lore and all that. I'm just watching the show, and I really enjoyed the first season. I think it is a fantastic season of adult television. If you're not familiar, it's a superhero story. I don't really know how to describe it other than that. There's a murder mystery in the first season. It's really interesting. But Invincible Season 2, it's kind of hard to get me on the train. If I'm being honest, I would have to go back and watch the first season again to really understand what's going on. I understand the stuff going on between Mark and his dad, obviously, because I watched the first season. But, oh my God, what is going on in this season? There's so many concurrent storylines going on that it's so hard for me to follow. And with the weird release schedule that they're doing, I just can't follow. I have found myself being okay, who is this person again? What's going on? Wait, who's this team? Who just showed up? Wait, Mark's leaving again? Invincible is leaving again. Is he with his girlfriend? I thought he was kind of having a thing with Adam Eve. Where's Adam Eve? What's she doing? You know, if you're not familiar, this is all gobbledygook in your brain. But it's just, it's a commitment that is getting very hard for me to commit to. So I watch it. Watch it, guys. I don't know. Whoa! It's me from the future. You can tell I'm different because my hat's on backwards. Anyway, I came back from the future to tell you guys to go buy some merch. What? I have a merch store? Yeah, that's crazy. Okay, I put my hat back normal because it looked stupid. You can go buy my merch right now. We've got shirts, we've got stickers, we've got hats, we've got beanies. Wow, I can't believe you can make all that and sell it. Huh? Wow, I can't believe these look so cool with my very cool logo that I designed myself. So you can go right now to shopbenray.com. That's shopbenray.com. Can't believe I got that domain, but guess what, guys? Go there right now and you can buy my merch. Look, you may be thinking, hey, these are a little expensive. Well, guess what? Hey, I put them at the lowest price point possible. I want you to get these for as cheap as possible so you're not breaking your bank for supporting your boy, okay? So go right now to shopbenray.com. That's shopbenray.com. Zeus, what do you think?
I think it's a great deal. I'm just a little nervous being on camera.
Okay, cool. Why don't you head over to shopbenray.com and go get yourself your brand new style, okay? All right. We've talked about a bad cartoon adaptation. We've talked about an okay cartoon adaptation. Let's talk about a good cartoon adaptation. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Have you heard of the X-Men? That's $4,000 to Disney right there. I tried to get into the X-Men animated series in high school. That's just not for me. 90s television was way back then. 90s kids programming. Woof. Woof, dude. They were very simple stories with very flat characters, and I didn't enjoy it. And it was cool to see X-Men on screen, but it just wasn't for me. What I did like, though, was the X-Men movies. I thought they were really good. I thought the more modern ones were not very good. They stopped being really good after Days of Future Past. And Last Stand isn't great and all that. It's hard to do X-Men. It's hard to adapt the X-Men, In a comic setting, you can do so much more. You can tell so many different stories at the same time and have people understand, unlike Invincible. But let me tell you, man, X-Men 97? Oh. I have a beef with Marvel right now. I have beef. They've been pumping out some real stinkers, okay? X-Men 97 is surprisingly really good. It is really good. I was hyped for this announcement because I do love the X-Men. And it's, you can see them right there. They're right there. That's the X-Men right there. I got Wolverine, I got Cable, I got Professor X. I have more on the top layer. I love X-Men. This show, I've only seen 2 episodes, okay? I watched the first 2 episodes when they came out. Holy shit, it's so good. Holy shit, it's so good. I can't even fathom. Since I haven't absorbed much of the original cartoon, I just kind of have this idea of what these characters are like in my head, and it's just good classic storytelling, but in an updated setting, in an updated animation style. The action was so good. Cyclops was cool. Cyclops hasn't been cool ever, dude. Cyclops is only kind of cool in the comics. I used to hate Cyclops. I watched this 2 episodes of cartoon. Hello, Cyclops is cool now? We're supposed to like Cyclops? Sign me up. And I blame Wolverine. I blame the love for Wolverine because in the movies, Wolverine's the main character. Everybody loves Wolverine. Wolverine hates Cyclops, therefore we hate Cyclops. But put him in a field, give all the X-Men their due credit. Starting to realize this Cyclops fella ain't that bad. Starting to think this Cyclops fella might just be a good leader for the X-Men. Might just be a good leader. I don't know. It's a good show. I highly recommend it. I'm very excited to see where this goes. I really like what they're doing with Magneto. I'm not a Magneto lover, but yeah, I like what they're doing. I'm currently in full support. I will definitely update you as it goes along. But X-Men 97 is pretty sick. Yeah. All right. That's it. The only other review I'll say is I played Helldivers and it was really good. It's really good. It's really fun. I wish I had people to play it with. That's fine. It's fine. Fortnite new season, not great. Not loving it. I think the last season did a lot better with the map that they have currently. With the Greek mythology stuff, new updated stuff, not a fan. Not a big fan. All right. We're nearing the last 15 minutes here. I'm gonna try to switch gears here. Real life, what is that? All I've known is watching movies. I got a job. Guys. Yeah. Thank you. I finally got a job. I'm still not fully gonna say what my situation was, but or what led me into my situation, but I was unemployed for 3 months. 3 months. Yeah. Woof. It's not like I wasn't doing anything about it. I had plenty of interviews. It's just that I would get these interviews. I would say probably one thing that they didn't really enjoy. It's not like one concurrent thing I would say at each interview. It's just like, I would do really well. I would think that I killed the interview. I'd think, oh man, I have this in the bag. I finally have a job. Yay. No. They ghost me, or they're just like, sorry, we're currently looking somewhere else right now. Wah, wah. It was ridiculous. It was absolutely ridiculous. I've never been this stressed out in my life, dude. Never. Like, I saw a TikTok yesterday that was basically like, people are lying when they say that your 20s aren't the hardest time of your life. Dude, I agree, man. Struggling, thinking I'm not going to be able to pay rent this month. I wasn't able to pay rent for 2 months, man, because I didn't have a job and I still had to continue living. Think about that, man. Think about how you're living right now, and then think about not having any money come in, And I'm someone that's really bad with savings. By really bad, I mean have none. So the second I didn't have a job, I was screwed, And it was scary. And it was stressful. Like, my hair was falling out, man. I'm fine now. I have hair. It's just like, woof, dude. But yes, I finally have a job after 3 months. And I really enjoy it. And that's why I said at the top of the show, I'm feeling enriched. I finally have a job where I feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing in life. Is this the perfect job for me? I can't answer that yet, but I enjoy it. I enjoy what I'm doing. Chili's, $6 Patron shots at Chili's. Thank you, Chili's. I enjoy what I'm doing, and I think this is going to lead into a future that is bright for me. I am a board operator at a radio station in my town. I don't really want to say on here what it is. I don't know why. I just kind of get an icky feeling of sharing my exact situation. I don't know, because it's like, you don't need to know that. Like, I would tell you, and you would just know that, and you don't need to. So there you go. But yeah, I'm working at a radio station, and I produce the shows. I tell them when to go on. I put ads on, and I record the weather and do the forecast and stuff like that. And it's fun. It's really fun, and it's engaging, and I just feel very enriched doing that. I feel like this is work that I like doing. Compared to my last job where I felt like I was stuck there, and it was like a curse, and like I wasn't actually being tortured. I'm not, but it was a tough environment, and I was very by myself the whole time. And I think this is just, it's making me realize that life is worth living, and it's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's just that it's talk radio. Talk radio has a lot of stigmas around it. I'm just hoping that my boss isn't watching this. They say stuff that I don't agree with, and it's a part of the job. I do not agree with it. I don't stand by anything that these people say. My opinions are my own. I'm not saying I don't want to work there. This is a fantastic opportunity. I'm not personally vouching for anybody. But I am enjoying the work. That's what I will say. I'm enjoying the work. I like my job. I would like to keep it for as long as possible. But yeah, I and it's nice. It has been taking up, time. So that's kind of why I haven't been on top of these episodes lately, especially just like, recouping time. I don't want to come home from work where I record people talking and then come home and talk and record myself. I still love this guy. I love you being here, and I love doing this, but it's something to consider, and I'm glad I'm doing this episode because this is fun. I like this. But yeah, I have a job, and it's fantastic. It is just, it's crazy. I've never had a job that's this. I've never had a job that's this non-jobby, Like, I feel like I'm not actually doing work. I'm just kind of messing around, but it's fun. And I really enjoy my coworkers. That's what I'll say. It's fun. I missed doing this. I really tried a couple times. I just couldn't get myself to actually do a full episode. I was going to splice 2 recordings together and make it 1 episode, but that's not how podcasts work. I want this to be, I want this to be good, and I want this to be a full experience. And yeah, I don't know. That's kind of all I want to talk about today. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope you guys take all my reviews and take them to heart and agree with me completely. I love you. Thank you for watching this. Thank you for enjoying my content. Thank you for being one of my very few listeners if you got to this part of the podcast. I really appreciate you, and I appreciate everything you do for me. And yeah, you are what makes me feel enriched, because you are who I'm doing this for. Yes, I'm doing this for myself, to give myself a platform to talk about things I think are important. But for the most part, you guys are the listeners. You guys are who I want to hear this. I think that's how you phrase that. So yeah, I really appreciate you. And I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.